Hello, this is my 2024 Traptrix deck profile. Traptrix is a budget deck. You can buy 3 structure decks and get a pretty decent deck. But over time, I've added cards to it like Pot of Prosperity, Nibiru, the Primal Being, cards like that to make it more competitive today. I'm going to show you all what I put together. I like to build decks. It's pretty fun. And I usually go for 20 engine and 29 engine. With this deck though, it's 22 engine. So cards that get me into my Traptrix combos or just field control. And then 18 cards that are just, if you can get your hands on, if you can afford it, they're pretty good to have. And, for just casual play or competitive, they're fun. So playing 3 Pot of Prosperity to keep my deck consistent. If I don't draw the cards I need, and if I draw this card, maybe I can excavate top either 3 or 6, depending on how much I banish, and maybe it's a card I need. Playing 3 Nibiru, it's a good card. When you're, most decks today play more than 5 card, like they summon more than 5 times. So this card just like gets rid of their board. It might not always stop it, but it'll at least slow it down. So it make the board weaker, which is pretty good. 3 infinite impermanents. So target negate is pretty good in this format. And it's also good because, triple tactics talent. It says your opponent's turn and you activate infinite impermanents. It wasn't a monster effect, so it kind of, or they can't call by the grave or your imperm. It's a plus. 3 Ash Blossom. It's a pretty good generic card. Came with the structure deck. Stops some combos or some searches where it doesn't stop a search. But it's pretty good. 3 Dimension Shifter. Man, I love this card. Traptrix, I'm not much affected by Dimension Shifter, but my opponent more so. So, it stops my opponent it slows my opponent down, and that allows me to set up and finish the game. 3 Effect Veiler, sort of like Infinite Impermanence, just a monster effect. And now, so this is my non-engine, 18 cards. And here's my engine, starting off with Traptrix Garden. It's a field spell for Traptrix monsters. It allows me to get an additional normal summon outside of my normal summon. And then also, I have battle protection. The first time a Traptrix monster would be destroyed by battle, it is not. So it gives me some type of protection and some type of recovery. And also, Traptrix, one of these effects are banish a monster you control and then special summon a Traptrix from hand or grave. So if I get Nibiru'd, I'll get a token. I can banish that token and bring back either Sarah or one of my monsters. One of the traps I'm playing, Banishing Trap Hole. Traptrix is based off of the whole archetype. So just using these cards. And this is a pretty good one because it banishes face down. So a lot of starter cards or 1,500 or less attack. So if you bring out that monster, I can banish your face down and just remove her from play. Playing 2 Traptrix, Trap Hole Nightmare. Pretty good. Any special summon monster, once they activate their effect, I can negate it and destroy that card. 2 Gravedigger Trap Hole, man. This is a good burn card. If any monster effect is activated in hand, grave, or banish, I can negate the effect, and if I do, inflict 2,000 damage. So, I can resolve this about 2 or 3 times in the game, so that's, over half or not, half or more of my opponent's life points. So it's pretty good. 3 Traptrix on the tail. Man, this is so I wasn't playing Traptrix before the structure decks. Actually, Traptrix is the deck I used to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And this card came with the structure deck. But I believe before people were using Phantom Knight, which is basically it's a trap card that acts as a effect monster, or a normal monster actually. But it's a pretty good card. This triggers Sarah, which is one of the cards I really want to go into. I want to make sure I have Sarah on the field at all times, most of the time. Traptrix Arsenal Kampa. She's a special summon if I control another Traptrix monster, and also she protects my back row, which is fields, spells and traps, from being destroyed the first time they would. So, say I have Sarah set up, and I'll show you Sarah in a bit. You may already know who Sarah is, but I'll have Traptrix Sarah, and then say I have like 3 cards in the back row and Traptrix Garden, the field spell, and then I have Traptrix Arsenal Kampa, and I pass, and then my opponent's turn, he activates Harpy's Feather Duster. I'll have protection the first time, and then I'll trigger Sarah to set another trap. So it's pretty good. Traptrix down there. She's a good normal summon. So like she's perfect for if I have Traptrix Garden. So I would usually go maybe any Traptrix monster, link off Traptrix Sarah, season link 1. Use my additional normal summon, Traptrix down there, because when she's normal summoned, I can special summon a Traptrix monster from my grave in defense. And so that's, effect monsters or XYZ, because, link monsters don't have defense. So it's pretty good. And then some monsters that'll trigger their effects if they're special summoned, then this happens. On that note, Traptrix Dalnea, her special summon effect is when she's special summoned, I can target a whole normal trap in my grave and set it, but banish it during the next end phase of my next turn if it's still on the field. So if I haven't used it yet, then yeah. 3 Traptrix Pudika. Man, this is I like her, she's good. She searches Traptrix Garden. So I want to have 3 of her, and also that's her normal summon effect when she's normal summoned. And when she's special summoned, I get to target 1 special summon monster my opponent controls and banish it, which can slow down my opponent. It can, if they have board breakers or towering monsters, I can banish them, and then they won't be on the field, and I can start doing my thing. But they'll get it back during the standby phase. So any monster, not just that one, any banished monster they have. So just consider that. The Traptrix Myrmelio, really one of the starters. I mean, she's a good starter. If you don't have any traps in your hand, and you have her when you normal summon her, if she's not Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, Impermed, then you can search a whole trap and that'll get you going. And her special summon effect is, if this card is special summoned, then target 1 spell trap my opponent controls and destroy that target, and that's not once per turn, either effect. So you can resolve Myrmelio, 2, 3, 4 times in a phase, or in a turn, sorry. I've done it. That's pretty good. 3 Traptrix Mantis. Traptrix Mantis, another starter. And if you have her in your hand, you can search another Traptrix monster when you normal summon her, if her effect isn't negated, or Ash Blossom, which is pretty good. Her second effect is decent. I've used it a couple times. One of your set spells or traps, you can return it to the hand. So that can also protect you from back row destroyers like Harpies, Lightning Storm, cards like that. Or just cards that try to destroy her. Any card that tries to destroy your back row, you can save it, but it's not, you won't be able to activate it since traps have to be set a turn before they can be activated. But that can also trigger Sarah as well. You know, her effect is, I'll get to her in a minute. So let's leave it at that. Yep. My extra deck, Time Thief Redoer. It's a really good card for Traptrix. You know, requires 2 level 4 monsters. All Traptrix monsters are level 4. And you can get 2 monsters on the field pretty easily. I would say it's ideal for me to use Redoer with using Holotea, my trap, that acts as a monster, and any Traptrix monster. Because his effect is, I can attach 1 material from him and apply a following effect. So when it's a trap, when he has a trap as material, I can place a face-up card my opponent controls and, you know, put it on top of the deck. So, you know, that slows my opponent down. And then when it's his next turn, I know what card he's gonna have. It's the card, you know, that I did with Time Thief. Unless he, like, you know, uses pot of prosperity, like excavates and then changes the order. So yeah. Bagushka, number 41. Bagushka, the terribly tired tapir. Man, this is I like this card. You know, it slows my opponent down. I don't face a lot of link decks, so I face a lot of Synchro, XYZ, or just normal decks, effect monsters. So I usually summon him, like I said, 2 level 4 monsters. Fairly easy, fairly simple to go into for Traptrix. And I usually summon him in defense position, because when he's in defense position, all monsters are changed to defense, and then defense monsters and effects are negated besides him. So, you know, if my opponent, so even if they while he's on the field, even if they summon a monster, it'll be changed to defense, and then their effect is negated. So a good way to get rid of him is, you know, tribute like Kaiju, Lava Golem, things like that. Evil's Warm Exicon Knight, you know, this is like my budget version of Zeus. Again, 2 level 4 monsters, you know. If my opponent controls more cards in their hand and field than I do, then detach 1 material from them and destroy all cards on the field, all other cards on the field. And they take no more damage that turn if I use that. But if I use it on my opponent's turn, since it's a quick effect, I won't have to worry about that. Traptrix Pinguicula. You know, this is like one of my favorite XYZ. She's so good. 2 level 4s. Whatever material she has, whatever attributes those cards are, she's unaffected by monsters with that same same type. So, you know, we're playing insect, plant. But if here's one of her other effects. If a monster owned by your opponent is sent to grave or banished by a card effect, you can attach 1 of those monsters as material. So say I have one of my traps set, and then she's on the field. They summon a monster, I negate, destroy. Okay, I can use her effect to attach 1 of those monsters to her, and at whatever type that monster was, say dragon, then she'll be unaffected by dragon activated effects. Alamaris, you know, she's good too. She's almost like I'll say Pinguicula's little sister. You know, 2 level 4s or more, unaffected by traps while it has material. So Traptrix are unaffected by traps, but the normal trap monsters are unaffected by whole normal traps. So you can't bottomless. So in the mirror match, it's kind of annoying to not be able to destroy, you know, the monsters. Traptrix Alamaris. You know, you can attach 2 materials, special summon a level 4 insect or plant, monster from grave, and then second effect. If an opponent monster leaves the field because of my card effect, so like I said, one of my traps or time thief redoer maybe, or not time thief, but say one of my whole traps, I can detach one from her and then special summon that card from the field. So that's a really good card. You know, if I get rid of one of my opponent's boss monsters for one of my trap holes, and I have material for her, at least one, let's attach one, and special summon that monster to my field. It's just pretty, it's like using my opponent's cards against them, you know, it's pretty good. To Traptrix Rafflesia. Man, she's a protector, you know. If I don't have Traptrix Garden, I would use Rafflesia because she's protection. Because Traptrix monsters I control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects except her. So she's the only one you can target when she's on the field, at least for my Traptrix monsters. And then her other effect is detach one. Detach one card, detach one material, and send a trap pull that meets activation. So, say I don't have Gravediggers trap pull set in my back row. I can simply, and say like I summon 5 times. Say I summon 5 times. She's my 5th summon. And they try to Nibiru. I can attach one material from her, send Gravedigger's Trap Pull to the grave, and then Nibiru will be negated, and then it will inflict 2,000 damage to my opponent. Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. You know, I really like her. I use her very rarely, but I've used her at locals and even at casual play with my friends, you know. I'm able to use one of my opponent's monsters as a link material. It's pretty good. You know, I've done it at locals one time facing heroes, and that was the only way I won that game. This guy had Destiny Hero Plasma on the field, negated every single one of my effects. He bring out Elemental Hero Shiny Neil's Wingman, and then popped my back row because Traptrix, you know, I love to have my back row, but he destroyed my spells and traps. And then, but I had 4 monsters on the field, and he had more than 4 monsters on his side. So I'm like, the only way to get out of this, you know, is get rid of Plasma. And, you know, Underworld Goddess came in. And also, her other effect, let me see. It's unaffected unless they target this card. And once per turn, your opponent activates a card or effect that was special summons a monster from grave, I can negate it. So a lot of graveyard effect I can negate at least once per turn. That's pretty good. Right? Yep. Mech Knight. Man, this is a good card. You know, Traptrix monsters aren't the highest stats. So if I have a link 3, a link 1, I can make Crusadia, Mech Knight Crusadia Abramax. And he's a boss, you know. He gains attack equal to the amount to the attack that he's facing. So it's automatically 3,000 damage. And yeah. And then a good effect is if he's sent to the grave by an opponent's card, you can shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck. So if he's sent to the grave by my opponent's card, say a monster, then I can shuffle that monster into the deck, you know. It's pretty good. Traptrix Oedipus. Like I said, Traptrix isn't the highest attack defense, but you know, that's why the holes and hole traps and things like that come in play. You know, try to slow my opponent down, control the game to not let them get into the combo, and just that'll open the board for me to have free range attack. So Traptrix Oedipus is good for like finishing the game off, because by the time she's on the field, I will have at least 1 trap in my grave, and when at least 1 trap is in my grave, all Traptrix monsters I control gain 1,000 attack. So she's at 28 most of the time, 2,800. And yeah, her other effect is I can negate monsters on the field up to the number of Traptrix monsters I have. I can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect plant monsters you control. Negate their effects until the end of his turn. So not just face-up monsters, so spells, traps, any face-up card I can negate up to once per turn, according to how many plant and insect monsters I have. So not just Traptrix, any plant insect. And then if I use that, I can also apply this effect. I can banish a normal trap from grave, and if I do, destroy one of those targeted face-up cards. So if I do that, I want to make sure I at least have one trap in my grave. So if I destroy my opponent's cards, then I'll have at least, we'll have higher stat attack. Traptrix Cularia. She's good for maintaining resources. Like some games, if the game is tight, I'm like lacking resources, I bring her out because at the end phase, she can special summon a Traptrix monster from grave. So, the cards I use to get into her, I can bring back at least one of them. And then they might have an effect. One of their special summon effect might activate, so that's pretty good. And then her other effect is when I activate a whole normal trap, I can set that trap instead of sending it to the grave. So it's kind of like just maintaining a resource. So Gravedigger's Trap, if I use that once, I can set it again instead of sending it to the grave. And then, say it's still on the field, a past turn, I can use it again and set it again instead of setting it to the grave. Right? Yep. And Sarah, this is, just like, I want to have Sarah. Oh man, this is, she really starts me off. She starts the game. She keeps the ball rolling. Link 1 is pretty good. Link 1s are good. It's very rare to have like Link 1s. But if you have a good Link 1 in the deck, man, that's alright. Sarah, when normal trap is activated, so not just on my field, but any normal trap, impermanence, evenly matched, infinite impermanence, evenly matched, dimensional barrier, any normal trap, when that happens, when a normal trap is activated, like a special summon a Traptrix monster from deck with a different name than the cards I control. And then, say a normal trap is activated, I bring out a monster, say Traptrix Mermelio, or I can pop a card, target a spell and trap, destroy it. Okay, I bring her out. Her effect was activated. Now trigger Sarah's other effect. When a other Traptrix monster effect is activated, I can set one whole normal trap. So this is building resources, slowing my opponent down so I can go into my combos. Side deck. I'm playing 2 Floodgate Trap Holes. It's an additional trap hole for my engine. I can trade them out for some of the cards I have for my engine. And, flips monsters face down. You can't use face down monsters for XYZ Summon, Synchro, I believe. And, yeah. So, it's a good card. And any face down card effect can't be activated. And also when they're flipped face down, they can't change their battle position. So only way is if I destroy them, they get sent to the grave and they can bring it back. 3-dimensional barrier. This is a good card. Especially for my trap deck. But for any deck, it's really good for Traptrix. And the effect is you can read it if you already know the card though. Just declare any, Synchro, Ritual, XYZ, Fusion, even Pendulum, but not Link. So once I do that, so say I'm facing Red Dragon Archfiend, I can use Dimensional Barrier to slow them down so they can't summon Synchro monsters, and then if they already have Synchro monsters on the field, their effects are negated, which is good. 3 evenly matched. It came with the structure deck. It's a pretty good card, you know. I mean, I haven't used it in a while in today's game, but I still like it, you know. If I'm going second and my opponent has a whole board, I can sacrifice my main phase 1. I can sacrifice my battle phase to use this to get rid of their board for the most part, you know. They might have some recovery, but it will at least change their plans, you know. Because if I control no cards, I can activate this from my hand. And at the end of battle phase, opponent controls more cards than you do. You can make your opponent banish cards from their field face down, so they control the same. So if this is the only card I have, they have to banish cards until they have 1 left, face down. And you can't bring face down cards back from the banish. There can be only 1. This card is just like, you know, sometimes it hurts me, but you know, I'm just like, as long as my opponent can't really do what he wants, you know, that's good. There can be only 1. Each player can only control one monster of each type. So I can only control 1 plant, 1 insect, and everything else. I can't control 2 plants, because if I do, I have to send 1 to the grave. And that's a floodgate, because some cards, they like to special summon from the grave, but if you don't control 1, then there can be only 1. Monster Reborn, man, I love this card, you know. Bring back any monster from the grave, man. Even on my opponent's grave, which is a plus sometimes, you know. One of my favorite combos with Monster Reborn is Kaiju and then Reborn. You know, I've done it multiple times, you know. Kaiju, Red Dragon, a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and then Reborn it to my field and use it against my opponent. Or, you know, the Towering Raid Raptor monsters. 4,500 attack, you know, unaffected by cards. Only way to get rid of it is Kaiju or some type of tribute, like Lava Golem. Yeah. 2 triple tactics. If their opponent has activated a monster effect during main phase this turn, I can draw 2 cards, take control of 1 of their cards, or look at my opponent's hand and choose 1 card to shuffle into the deck. So it's pretty good. So if I'm getting to my combo, I'm going first. I'm getting to my combo, they Ash or Effect Veiler on my monsters. I can use triple tactics if I have it in my hand. Either draw 2 cards that I was trying to search for, it might be in those 2 cards, or take control of my but if I'm going first, I can't use that. But if I'm going second and they activate an effect, I can take control of 1 of their monsters. And then either way, if they use it, I can also just look at their hand and shuffle 1 to the deck, like 1 of their starters, preferably. 3 Lava Golem, like I said, either Kaiju, Lava Golem. Lava Golem is good. You know, Kaiju, you can tribute 1 monster, and for the most part, your opponent's gonna have at least 1 monster. But Lava Golem is 2 monsters, which hopefully they have at least 2. But the second effect is it just burns your opponent for 1,000 damage. So kind of you have to pay. So that's my Traptrix deck profile and some explanation. You know, you may already know the deck, but I'm just explaining it as if you didn't know. So thank you.